will have to answer.
Yeah. The Farakka barrage, the problem relating to Farakka barrage. First thing what I would like to mention that it was designed, the concept was based on arithmetic hydrology. The port of Kolkata is our colonial legacy. It was built during late 18th century when light wooden ships was plying through this river. It required much less draft to dry. But when we achieved the independence, there was a revolution already in the shipbuilding technology, large oil tankers requiring more than 30 feet draft. We had expectation that that ship should come to the port of Kolkata. The distributary of the Ganga, that is Bhagirathi Hooghly, on which the port of Kolkata stands, is about 500 kilometers downstream of the Farakka barrage. And 280 kilometers of this 500 kilometers length of river is tidal. And Kolkata is largely a dependent port. Problem is that when we conceived this project and when we started to commission this bed, there was a change, total change in the hydropolitics of this South Asia. First thing is that there was expansion of irrigation in the upper Ganga plain, exploiting more and more water from the river. Second is Bangladesh emerged as an independent country, claiming equal share of water. So the arithmetic hydrology prescribed 40,000 cusecs of water to flush the sediment load to the deeper estuary. Bangladesh claimed equal share of water. Unfortunately, the available lean season flow at Farakka during the March, it comes down to less than 40,000 cusecs. So there is a conflict between India and Bangladesh over the sharing of water. So we had water sharing treaty and we had to make a compromise. Problem is that if you go to the official data of the Kolkata Port Trust, you will find that quantum of dredging to keep the navigation channel free for navigation has increased from 6 billion cubic meter to 22 million cubic meter from pre-Farakka days to post-Farakka days. This is stated in the official document of the Kolkata Port Trust. But still, we are not in a position to say that we should demolish this massive structure because it has some other roles too. Because it is very important between the 6 districts of North Bengal and 13 districts of South Bengal. This is point number 1. Second is, whatever water we introduce into the Bhagirathi Hooghly river reduces the salinity level of this river, and drinking water supply to the greater Calcutta and Howrah is abstracted from this river. So this, and the upper reach of the river, that is the 200 kilometers the reach from its source to about Navadvip, it has become navigable after the induction of water from India. Prior to that, prior to commissioning of the Farakka barrage, that revision is just affordable during the lean season. So these are the roles it has played. More important is that in the official document of the government of West Bengal, it is stated that the Ganga is changing its course in such a way, we are afraid that the Ganga may flank the barrage in no distant period. This is stated official document of the government of West Bengal. So there is chance of maybe 20 years from now, during a devastating flood, the river just outflank the barrage and open a new course. There is official document state.
I would rather not like to consider that as a philosophical talk on this on an issue. It's rather an in principle. It's a matter of principle. India has been negotiating with America in climate negotiations that you should reduce your greed, you should reduce your greenhouse gas emissions. Now, you should not be having 5 cars per person, but Indian metros are almost following the same. And that is actually the real issue why we have to mine all our resources for a particular generation. At the same time, we have these rivers and the people vulnerable. So I think these are the basic minimum principle, a path that we choose, path about our development that should be clearly defined. So I would rather not call it a philosophy, not a very strategic statement. And on the other thing, it's like we also say that everything also is happening. Should happen at least with good standards that are fixed in this country. Pollution, on whatever. So I think cumulative impact is a must for rivers, Mahanadi, and also the need of the states, the riparian states should be the primary, like for example, to be in very simple terms. Because Delhi people have money. Where from this money has come, one have to also understand. Mines are in Orissa or Jharkhand or somewhere else. So the mineral companies, they extract the mine at a very cheap price. All those loopholes, exploiting all the loopholes, and that fits into the riches of metros. And these metros, these people then have the money to buy water, the money to buy everything they want. And at the same time, the people, the farmers who lose out their livelihood, their land, their water, their income is reduced by hundreds of times during 50 years. Even our president's income has increased by 1,50,000 times. So, in this country, if investment and money justifies exploitation of resources, I think there is some break somewhere. And for that, I keep on saying restricting urbanization in its attitude. The way we are growing, has to be there some. If India is very serious about climate change, negotiations with US, then it should also be serious about the growing disparity between the urban mindset and the urban mindset. So it is also very strategic, and I think strategy will be looked into. Thank you.
I just want to briefly respond to two of your points. One was about the evolution of this technology vis-a-vis the reservoir sedimentation. If you look at it, I mean, there has been a tremendous advancement in the field, and you refer to the Bagaliar. You see, the Bagaliar. So, I mean, if you look at the Indus Water Treaty, because of only this, because of that, I don't know the cost of the Bagaliar Dam, and the neutral expert opined that we cannot have a 90-60 dam in 2006, because if we go as per the TGOI design, it would have led to the sedimentation of that dam. So we had to bring down the gates in order to flush the sediments from the dam. There are technologies that are available and that can reduce the sedimentation of the reservoirs. The second point you asked about the cumulative effect of the dams. I mean, frankly, not much work has been done, not even at the global level also, in the field. That what the ecological consequences when we make a cascade of dams or a cascade of dams, and how can we make a cumulative assessment of that. I don't think much work has been done even at the international and not in India also.